Okay, so there's this technological tidal wave, right? And it is crashing head on into one of our oldest institutions, the news media. Artificial intelligence isn't just knocking on the door of the newsroom anymore, it's practically rebuilding the whole place from the ground up. So let's dive in to what this massive transformation really looks like. And that brings us to the biggest question, the one that everyone in the media world is wrestling with right now. Is this technology the savior they've been waiting for, a journalist's greatest new tool? Or is it the thing that finally knocks over a business model that's already been struggling for years? We're looking at this incredible story of both promise and peril, and it's all happening at once. And look, don't think for a second this is some far-off sci-fi future we're talking about. A recent KPMG survey of media executives found that 57% of news organizations have already brought generative AI into their operations, and another 37% are planning to do it soon. So yeah, pretty much everyone is already in the game. AI is here, and it's inside newsrooms as we speak. Okay, so first things first. Let's look at the bright side. What's the best case scenario here? How is this incredibly powerful new technology actually being used as a tool to make journalism better, not just replace it? Well, the first thing you have to understand is that AI isn't just some little tweak here or there. It's a foundational shift that's hitting every single part of the business, from how the news is actually created, to how it gets to you, and crucially, how these companies actually make money. And when you dig into it, the ways they're using it are actually super practical. We're talking about AI automating the boring, routine stuff, which frees up journalists to do the real deep dive investigative work. It's being used to crunch huge amounts of data to spot trends that no human ever could, and it's customizing the news you see to better match what you're actually interested in. The goal is to build a faster, smarter newsroom. Okay, but what about the elephant in the room with AI? You know, the fact that it sometimes just makes stuff up. We call them hallucinations. Well, to fight this, news outlets are embracing a technology called RAG. Think of it like this. Instead of the AI just relying on its old static training data, a RAG system forces it to go out and check its facts against a trusted live database before it gives you an answer. And here's a perfect real-world example of this in action. The Washington Post is building its own AI tool. And here's the genius part. The trusted database it checks is its very own archive of award-winning journalism. So when you ask its AI a question, it bases the answer on the Post's actual reporting. It's a really smart way to use the power of AI while keeping it grounded in reliable, fact-checked work. All right, so that's the good news, but, and this is a huge but, for all of that promise, AI also poses this massive, maybe even existential threat. This uneasy partnership is quickly turning into a huge fight over traffic, over data, and really over the survival of the media's entire business model. For decades, the deal was simple, right? You search on Google, it gives you a list of links, you click one, and boom, a publisher gets a visitor they can show ads to. But AI search completely flips the script. It scrapes all that information from the publishers, digests it, and just gives you the answer directly. You get what you want without ever clicking a link or visiting the original site. For publishers, this is a potential traffic apocalypse. And trust me, the people running these media companies, they see the writing on the wall. When executives were asked if they could get that digital ad revenue back from big tech in this new AI era, oh boy, the results were not pretty. A combined 62% think things will either get worse or stay just as bad. Only a tiny 8% expect any kind of significant recovery. That is a massive vote of no confidence. And really, at the heart of this whole conflict is one simple kind of brutal fact. To get so smart, AI models like ChatGPT basically read the entire internet. And a huge chunk of that was high-quality journalism from news organizations that they never asked to use and certainly never paid for. And that has set the stage for one heck of a battle. So what's the news industry doing about this? Well, they are absolutely not just sitting back and taking it. They're fighting back on two major fronts, in the courtroom and at the negotiating table. First step, the courtroom. The big one, of course, landed in 2023 when the New York Times sued OpenAI and Microsoft for copyright infringement. But they're not alone. Authors have filed class action lawsuits. Music publishers in Germany are suing over song lyrics. A full-blown legal firestorm is brewing. But at the exact same time, while the lawyers are battling it out, there's another path being taken, collaboration. OpenAI has been signing content deals with major publishers like Hearst. Meta just did its first deal with Reuters. There's even an AI search engine called Perplexity that's trying a revenue-sharing model. It's that classic dilemma. Do you sue them or do you partner with them? But here's the thing. Whether they're in court or in a boardroom, the message from the media is exactly the same. The CEO of Reach PLC, Jim Mullen, he put it perfectly. He basically said, the content produced is valuable and should be licensed. In other words, our work, our journalism, it has immense value, and you can't just take it for free to build your multi-billion-dollar AI empire. So all this conflict, all this disruption, it means we are heading into a brand new era that desperately needs a new set of rules. With AI being adopted so incredibly fast, there's a race to build some ethical guardrails to manage it all responsibly. But here's where we find a pretty shocking gap. Remember how we said 57% of newsrooms are already using AI? Well, get this. Only 13%, just 13% of them say they have a mature system in place for governing it. Most of them are just getting started or are still working on it. The technology is moving at lightning speed, and the policies to control it are lagging way, way behind. And building those policies means facing at least 3 huge ethical challenges. First, there's maturity. Is your data and your tech even good enough to be used in products for the public? Then there's privacy. Are you protecting people's data and following the laws? And finally, reputation. It's not enough to just follow the law. Your audience has to trust that you're using this stuff ethically. And we are starting to see some newsrooms step up and draw their own lines in the sand. The Guardian, for example, insists that a human always has to supervise any AI use, and they've promised to be totally transparent with readers about it. Wired has taken an even harder line, flatly stating they will not publish text generated by AI because they believe editing requires human judgment that a machine just doesn't have. And this isn't just up to the companies anymore. Governments are getting involved now. The European Union's Media Freedom Act is a major step. It's trying to create a regulatory framework to protect the media and to create common rules to fight the kind of disinformation that AI could unleash. And all of this brings us to one final, maybe most important thought. The AI models that will shape our future are being trained on the content we're all creating today, our news, our stories, our arguments. So the crucial question is, what lessons are we feeding into the machine? The quality and integrity of our information has never been more important, because we're not just informing ourselves anymore, we are training the intelligence of tomorrow.